What is next for Alexa Bliss? Now, after WrestleMania, when we got introduced for the first time properly, I suppose, to this Fiend-esque-like character, Alexa Bliss fully transformed and seemingly left the Firefly funhouse. I like this a lot. Genuinely, we can trace this back through the story. For weeks, we saw Alexa Bliss on Alexa's playground actually make conversation with nobody. We saw the empty swing. We assumed the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, was sat on that swing. Now, I'm pretty confident at times he was. The way she referred to him makes sense. But we can't see him. She told us that he'd basically gone to hell. How was he there? How could she see him? It proves Alexa Bliss could see what we couldn't. Maybe she could see more than just the Fiend. Maybe this whole time she saw Lilith as well. And I really like the idea of that. The idea that she actually performed these dark rituals, these seances, inside the Firefly funhouse is key. The location was at the playground, the ring, backstage, the moon. It was in the funhouse. The funhouse being the safe place and seemingly the key to bring him back. I would bet money that opening that portal to bring him back also allowed Lily to come through as well. Lily being locked away in hell for however many years, and then actually following the Fiend back, coming back to some kind of life, if you will, and Alexa Bliss being the key for that, and the Fiend didn't know about it. On Monday Night Raw, we was introduced for the first time to this creepy Lily doll. Lily we believe to be short for Lilith, a female demon from Jewish mythology. There is so much scripture on this online. There's so many different references to her over centuries, and it's definitely worth reading some of it. Some of it obviously won't come into play, but a lot of it probably will come into play for the WWE story. Now, one thing I thought was cool was Lilith was the very first wife of Adam. You know, Adam from the story of Adam and Eve, the first people God created. And Lilith, however, was actually the first wife created from dust. Some claim the same clay as Adam. And of course, she refused to be subservient to Adam, so she left. Which is definitely a similarity between Alexa Bliss and the Fiend. Alexa Bliss being the first person to trust the Fiend, she turned her back on him. I've seen a lot of people talking about the Lily doll, saying, could this be Liv Morgan? Could this be Nikki Cross? Could this be this person, that person? I think it's Alexa Bliss, okay? The dress, everything, the pigtails, everything looks like Alexa Bliss. This is, I think, 100% a reference to Alexa Bliss herself. I do find it interesting. She's seemingly wearing Alexa Bliss's playground attire, which is pretty cool. Maybe there's a whole face of the doll we haven't seen yet. But if you remember before WrestleMania, Alexa Bliss told us that Randy Orton, the legend killer, would die at WrestleMania. Randy Orton, to my best knowledge, did not die at WrestleMania. But maybe the legend killer did. If you remember, Randy Orton came face to face with himself. This wasn't some kind of camera trick. This seemingly was Randy Orton on the screen talking to Randy Orton. We believed at the time Randy Orton was possessed by the Fiend. Maybe not. What if he was possessed by Lily? That would be an interesting swerve, because Alexa Bliss did have, as we all saw on the grandest stage, that black goo coming out of her headpiece, dripping down her face. And we've seen this come out of Randy Orton 500,000 times at this point. Maybe Alexa Bliss is going to possess Randy Orton. That's how the legend killer dies. The legend killer is no more, because at WrestleMania, Lily came forward, and now she can actually take full control of Orton, and we can get that feud between Randy and Fiend in the background, having the feud between the Fiend and Alexa Bliss. In that mythology world, these deities, entities, and demons very, very seldom actually get along. They actually go to wars and epic battles and hate each other because they all want each other's powers. They all want to be the most powerful demon ever in existence. We saw on the return of the Funhouse that Bray Wyatt said there would be new friends in the Funhouse. Maybe he is now going to go and find his Eve and this person is not going to turn their back on him, but she will be the difference maker and help him overcome Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. That kind of makes sense. And I think if that's going to happen, maybe Nikki Cross would be the person I put money on. I still want Liv Morgan, but let's go with Nikki Cross because storyline-wise, that makes sense. Alexa Bliss could always just now go away from the Funhouse and away from the Fiend entirely and just be her own person and run roughshod over the Raw Women's Division. That's definitely possible. And I think another smart way WWE could go is to give us two similar stories running simultaneously, and eventually down the road they clash, not immediately. And yes, I've seen all the hate online, and for anyone hating on this story, the simple message is,
The are you?
We as fans don't know what the original story was, is, or anything. This could have been the plan the entire time, and the evidence tells me it was. That's my best guess anyway. You look at the Fiend's new mask, you look at Alexa Bliss's new headpiece, the box that Alexa Bliss then rose from, the one the Fiend originally rose from at WrestleMania. They don't just come out of thin air. These things were created by Jason Baker and his extraordinary team, who create so much stuff for the Bray Wyatt storyline, and so was the Lily Doll, that you have to believe that this was going to happen eventually. These props take weeks, if not months, to create, and the fact they were created means that this was going to probably happen eventually. The fact it happened at WrestleMania is fine. It gave us a talking point. The fact Lily was trending on Twitter during Monday Night Raw shows you that fans are still into this story. Fans were chanting holy shit when Alexa Bliss emerged from the box. Fans haven't given up, although some people will swing it any direction they can. This is still, to me, the biggest story, the best story in WWE history. Whatever's next for Funhouse Bray Wyatt, for The Fiend, and for Alexa Bliss, it's gonna be cool. Strap yourselves in. We're in for the ride. It's gonna be fun. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like the video, share the video, and if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time. Peace!